Hi, this is Jason Lisk with PoolGenius, and I'm excited to talk to you today about our Golf One and Done product. If you play in Golf Survivor or Golf One and Done pools, it's a product that's designed to help you not only identify and help you increase your chances of winning a tough contest, where the odds are you don't hit winners because picking golf winners is really tough. But not only does it help you with that, it also helps you with time, organization, finding information. We've designed it in such a way that it can be used as a tool however you want to use it. Bring your own ideas, your own thoughts, rely on our thoughts, our pick grades. Well, however you want to use it, you can adjust it to what you need, do the research you need, and have success and have fun, mainly. Save time and have fun with Golf One and Done pools. So I'm going to get into walking you through using our Sony Open field here at the start of the 2026 season and what it looks like and kind of what the tools help you do and how they are structured. And I'm going to do that from the time you would go into the product. So, but I do want to point out, if you are coming to this video and you are a first-time user and you're playing Golf One and Done pools, we do have a 4-day free trial, at least here at the start of the golf season. Where if you are a new user, no credit card required, just register, get access for that free trial, and you can test it out. Go through yourself, do kind of what I'm doing in this video, walk through and see the various things. Because if you sign up on, say, a Sunday night, you'll have it through the Wednesday night lock of entering those picks. If you sign up that week, you'll be able to use it through the start of the tournament. And so you can test run it and see what you think and how the product works. So I'm going to pull up here our PoolGenius website page and show you. Now I'm logged in and I already have some pools set up. So what you would see is a little different, but I'm going to click into the Golf One and Done pools, which is just one of the many products we have at PoolGenius. And we have various individual packages for each individual product, and also Pool Picks Plus, Pool Picks packages. Pool Picks Plus includes all of our golf products as well as some specialty products like our Circuit Survivor, in addition to our March Madness packages and football pool picks. So if you want to get into Golf One and Done, you can use that free trial. You can sign up for Golf One and Done, or you can get one of the larger packages and get access to a lot of sports. Let's click into Golf One and Done. So I've set up some pools, as I said, some entries in the Rick Rungood Splash Contest, some others. So you would see when you got to this My Entries page, when you first registered, either by purchasing the product or to do your free trial, and you'd be able to set up pool. And it's an unlimited number of pools and entries. Now, once you've set one up, as I'm going to show you, you're going to go down at the bottom once you already have some set up and set up another pool. So I'm going to put in here, while we're recording, an actual pool. I have several more that I need to get set up because I've entered several over the last day as we get ready for the start of the One and Done season. So I'm going to set this up. This is a Splash 10K pool. We'll just call it that. And it is on Splash. So this is kind of how the flow goes. You set up your pool. You tell us your info. How many entries are in the pool? They're exactly, I believe it's 110. Let me get that number. 112. I'm one of 112. This contest is full. You cannot join me in this one, but you can get in similar type contests at various sites, including Splash. So this one is locked. I entered one before it locked here, got in just in time, squeezed in the door. It's a $100 entry fee, and there are 10 payout spots. So I'm setting all this up. We can track all this. First place, I'm just going to walk you through. I'm going to set it up exactly as you would. I'm going to go down my list or my information from the pool hosting site, and just enter it here. Fourth place, 1,008. Fifth place gets 504. And then, as you see, I designated 10 spots. So we ask what the minimum cash is at the final spot. I'm not putting the decimals. There are decimals, but I'm just going to put 302. And so Does your pool offer any other types of prizes? So this would be like segment prizes, things like that. For now, we're intaking that. But in the future, as we think about improvements to the product, we may actually use this info to derive more product-specific features. So for now, I'm going to say in this pool, there are none. This one doesn't have segment prizes. This is a pretty standard pool. Now, certainly the Rick Run Good pool that started the Sony has segment prizes. So that one you would indicate that. So now it asks about the tournaments used. This one does not use the Tour Championship. And as you note here, we've defaulted to the most common tournaments used. So things like the Puerto Rico Open, the Zurich Classic, the Myrtle Beach are not checked. If your pool does happen to use those are the what we call the opposite field events on the same weekends as some other events. If your pool does use those, you can check them. And if your pool excludes any tournaments, you could uncheck those. So we've kind of set it up as a default. And a lot of pools are hit or miss on whether they use a Tour Championship, so check your pool rules on that. So I've got that set up. I'm going to confirm my pool has 31 entries. Yes, 31 tournaments. Do I never need to pick more than one golfer? I do not. This is a true one and done. And are there any non-standard rules? No, there are not. It does not use the Tour Championship. It does not use any points multipliers. Just straight cash earned by all my picks. So once we've done that, I save, success. And now I'm going to go back to my entries and we'll see that pool is now here. Shows the total entries, etc., etc. So it's organized by pool and then entries within the pool. So if you have a pool where you enter 5 entries, it's going to have them all right next to each other under the same pool. So let's click in to our data grid, and I'm going to walk you through kind of all the information that you might find that might be helpful to you as you think about your picks. First, at the top of the data grid, we give you a lot of information here. And by the way, you can flip back and forth between entries here. That'll become more important as we get into the season and you use different golfers on different entries. And so some of your entries might have different golfers available. This week, obviously, as I show you this, we've not locked any picks yet. So no picks are different between these. So I'm not really going to flip back and forth, but you could. And so here's what we have available. One, per size. We have lots of little links here. This tier will show you the full list of tournaments organized by projected purse size. And so you can see the events and their purse size here. This particular tournament, the Sony Open in Hawaii, gives you the information on where it's located, the purse size, the first place prize amount, and it organizes. And then we tell you a little summary based on the pool information you gave us. So this is specific to what tournaments you told us you used. There are 15 picks in a higher purse tier that get significantly more money than the Sony Open. There are 7 picks that are close, but have a higher first place prize. That is, they're in the same tier, but they might have a few $100,000 more first. And so this event ranks roughly 22nd, 23rd on your list. And we say you probably want to use your 24th best remaining golfer or somebody who ranks lower and has good odds. So we aren't really, we're going through here and we're kind of telling you how the logic's kind of set up. It's not a hard rule that you must use your 24th, obviously. But that's kind of like the range where we're comfortable using a golfer based on where this tournament ranks. And so what you'll see as we look down is the actual data grid with information. And this is what'll show up each week. Now on Monday, early morning, we may not have the odds up yet. We tend to get those by lunchtime on Monday. We'll get the projected popularity dots up by late Monday to early Tuesday, and those pick grades will come up once we have betting odds as well. The information on golfer rankings, the course history, and the recent form, that'll all be there when the product opens and once we have the field over the weekend and when the product rolls over from one tournament to the next. So this is what you see. I'm going to walk through what each of these things are. I'm going to come back to pick grade. I'll cover that last, but projected popularity. Now, we decided, these are projections. They are based on information we've collected over the last several years on how people pick, and looking at factors like the win odds, how the golfers had done in that same tournament, how frequently they'd played it, how they had looked in recent weeks, et cetera, on how those things impacted popularity at various types of tournaments. And so we're providing you an estimate here, and we have it on what I would call a 5-dot system. There's no dots, which is less than 1% projected ownership in most pools. Single dot, which is between 1 and 3%. 2 dots, which is 3 to 7%, roughly 3 to 7. So 5% ish is a 2-dot type of player. And then the 3 dots are 8 to 14. And if you see a 4 dot, which we do not have in this first event, that means we're projecting that player to have over 15% popularity on average across one and done pools, making a single pick. And so we give you this information so you can make the assessment best for you. Now, one and done pools aren't exactly like Survivor. People don't get eliminated. There's no harm in early in the season or even as you go on picking a 10% owned golfer in a one and done pool. Good picks tend to have some popularity. And so we just provide that as another tool that you can use to assess how likely is this guy to get picked versus some other guys in the field. Now let's turn to the golfer rankings and ratings. What that is it's a stroke gains rating. It is based on the last 150 rounds the golfers play. So, and it's weighted. So the more recent rounds, that is the rounds you played most recently, count for a little more. They aren't just 1 out of 150. It's a little more weighting, whereas the ones from further ago, the 150th, 149th rounds, those aren't counting at the same weight. And so think of it as a weighted power ranking for that golfer based on how they've actually done in tournaments relative to their peers. And so we have those golfer ratings, and then those are used to compare each other and calculate our ranking of these golfers. So I'm going to sort by that. And you can see we have 4 guys in the Sony Open field who are currently inside our top 10 overall in golfer ratings. Ben Griffin, JJ Spawn, Russell Henley, and Robert McIntyre to start the year, with Hideki Matsuyama also down there lurking at number 18. And so those are our ratings based on actual performance. Now, there can be plenty of reasons why those ratings could fluctuate and or be wrong in the short term, right? Injuries, a golfer who found something, maybe, so because we're using 150 rounds, it may take a bit for a true change in something to show up fully. Like I said, things like injuries can impact like a golfer's rating. But what doesn't impact it is things from like 5 years ago, right? It's based on the last 150 rounds, which is roughly 2 to 2.5 seasons of a full PGA professional playing, probably that many rounds. They tend to play maybe 20, maybe 25 events from over the course of the entire year. And so, so that's what those two things represent. Next, we have our betting odds. Those are betting odds to win outright in the tournament, which is really what we're hunting for in one and done pools, right? We're searching for winners. And so this, I think, is a reality check, right? Because we've taken those odds and we've dejuiced them and we're putting them up here. And I'm going to show you, and this isn't all that atypical for an event that does not have Scottie Scheffler in it. Russell Henley is the only one over 5% to win. Hideki Matsuyama, Griffin, Spawn, and Bradley are barely over 3%. And everybody else is under 3% individually to win this tournament. It's hard to pick winners. Even when you pick the best golfers in that event, it's hard to pick winners. You're usually not going to get the winner. If you can hit 2 to 3 winners over the course of a full season of 31, you're probably in the money in a decent sized pool. If you hit more than that, you could be way up the leaderboard. And so it's hard to pick winners. And this is just a reality check on what those odds are as you make your picks. We show you the current odds. We show you the change from our initial odds that hit on Monday. So I'm recording this as of Tuesday afternoon. We've already seen some odd shifts for this week in this particular tournament, and you'll see that every week. And so we show you that. So if you want to, it's up to you. Do you place an emphasis on where line movement has gone? If so, you might target it on certain picks. Oh, this guy's moving up the odds, or his odds are increasing. Somebody's betting on, that matters to me. So that's for you to decide, but we present that information for you. Next, we have course history followed by recent form. And these are really cool tools. And I say that because these are the things that save you time. If you care about researching how golfers did at the event or how they've done recently, like if I wanted to go to the PGA Tour website where they have the leaderboards for each tournament and they also have player pages and such, it would take me a long, long time to figure out how Russell has done across the various things. Like I could find it, click on this thing, click on this link, change the tab to the Sony Open, go find his results for the Sony Open, and then try to think about how they are in context. Well, we have it here. We have his 4 finishes right here. You can see it right on the, and not only his, because, clicking to his is one thing, but clicking to 10, 20, 30 golfers is yet another. And we have it right here summarized. You can look down the list and immediately see what place that golfer finished. These include ties. Do they finish in a solo or tie for that position? And we display that for you. So you can see immediately Russell Henley, 10th and 25, 4th in 2024, 32nd in 23, and 2nd in 2022, has played at least four straight years, each of the last 4. Same with Matsuyama. You can see he was the winner in 22. And you want to see something really cool? You can sort each tournament and see who's playing this field and how have they done in recent Sony Opens. You can do all that. The other cool thing here on course history is strokes gained. You can sort by strokes gained. You can see who has had success, relatively speaking, at this course. And you can also see the sample sizes, right? Matthew Pavone played it once. He played it in 2024. He had a 7th place finish. If you want to see, and I'm going to go down here to Corey Connors, because he's played all 4 years. These strokes gains numbers include the rounds. And so if you want to dig into an individual golfer, click on that little blue link. And now I can see Corey Connors, and you can see we have strokes gained data back to 2019. We also have an individual rounds without the strokes gained numbers before that. So you can see how Connors has done, how many rounds he's shot in the 60s, and kind of what his range of outcomes has been in individual rounds at the Sony Open as you think about your picks. Each of you can put as much or as little as you want into this. Some of you may want to dig in and geek out on it. It's right here where you can easily click Connors, then Echevarria, and look at who you want. Things that would take you a half hour to do might take a couple minutes with our tools. Same thing with recent form. Recent form shows you most recent tournaments, and it's labeled by weeks ago. Now, we're early in the season. There haven't been a lot of events over the holidays. So the Hero World Challenge 6 weeks ago was the most recent PGA Tour event, and then there were several in November. And so that's why you see those numbers displayed. We're going to display the most recent 4 tournament weeks on the PGA Tour, and you'll see a lot of them are blank. Golfers didn't play some of those events. Some golfers played every. So you're going to be able to see how frequently has this golfer played recently in the last 4 PGA events. How many did they play in? What's their strokes gained average just in those recent tournaments? Same thing we talked about. You can click here. I'll click Echevarria, and you can see his individual rounds and what tournaments they came in, what his raw score versus par was, and what his strokes gained number was, and how that all adds up to the average number being displayed on our data grid. And so, again, we want to provide this information to allow you to make the best decision you can while saving as much time as possible in doing so. So that would be the argument on what does our tool do? Well, it helps you save a lot of time and make decisions while saving that time. Well, that's what the data grid looks like, right? But let's get into something else. Let's talk about, I said I'd talk about the pick grade. So I will cover that real quick. I'm going to sort by pick grade for this initial event. So what this pick grade is right now, and this may change in the future, it does not include an adjustment for popularity. So think of the pick grade as, here's how good we think the pick is based on their odds to win and where they rank relatively speaking in our rankings versus how the tournament ranks. So Colin Morikawa, who had a down year last year and has fallen outside the top 20 in golfer rankings, is still high enough up the odds board where he makes sense as someone you might want to consider here if you don't want to save him for one of those bigger signature events. Similar with Corey Connors, a golfer who ranks 30th and is in the top 10 in odds, so forth and so on. Golfer like Hideki Matsuyama, who actually has higher win odds than the first two in the market right now, is graded a little bit lower, and that's because his golfer ranking is inside our top 20. So it's what this pick logic and these grades are telling us, he's still a pretty good pick. Maybe you want to consider saving him slightly more because we have him closer to your top 15. So that's how to view that. But we organize and we grade all golfers with a grade of 80 or higher will show up. Usually that's going to give you 10, 15, 20 golfers to consider. You can certainly go below that, but that's what those numbers are based on. They're trying to give you the best odds while also balancing where this tournament ranks in your future value. Now, you're going to get different pick grades in the future based on who you've used in the past, because our logic will adjust to that. If you use some highly ranked golfers, it's going to give you golfers that it may at a certain event give you a golfer who uses less future value. It's going to lower the baseline of what constitutes the reasonable pick for your entry. Whereas if you use nothing but golfers outside the top 40, it's going to start feeding in some of these teens like Matsuyama in future events and saying, hey, maybe you could play them because you have enough really good golfers saved up. So that's how that's going to work. And I view it, people are like, what should I pick? You can pick the top grade. You can pick from among the top grades. I think that's certainly reasonable. There's not that much difference between the top options in a one and done pool. Again, we're hunting for long shot outcomes with golfers that have a 2 to 3% chance to win in most cases. And so the arguments for and against are pretty similar. And I would say if you like to dig in, we're just trying to organize it so you could find reasonable options and choose from among them based on what you want to emphasize. So that's how the pick grades work. That's just one aspect. Research. How do I decide my pick? When you actually have a pick you want to make or have made, first of all, don't forget to put it into your specific pool hosting site. We are here for advice. We are not the pool hosting site. You tell us who you picked, doesn't mean anything for your contest. So don't forget that. But you can tell us exactly who you picked. So let's say I decided on Corey Connors this week on this particular entry. This is a cool feature. Do you notice what I did here? The type ahead feature. And so when I start typing, eventually he's the only one there. I can click in and he's saved, auto saved. Very simple to enter picks. And now if you look down the data grid, the current week's pick, if I enter it and save it, is outlined in a solid black line. Now, in the future, golfers that I have indicated I picked, a couple things will happen. I'm going to head back to my entries page just real quick. So here you can see Corey Connors shows up, and you can enter the pick where I did within the data grid. You can also enter it from your my entries page. So I'm going to enter a second pick here, Aaron Rai. Typed ahead. Look how easy that is. So I've got my 2 picks logged in for these entries. And once this event's done, we'll actually take in where these golfers finished, display them for you down below, and you'll see a running list of a summary. You see where it says 0 total winnings right now. That number will change. Whatever Corey Connors wins in this tournament, it's going to be displayed there. And that way you can keep these entries organized, not only by entry number, but like, oh, that's the entry I've won 2.3 million on versus the one I've only won 500,000. And so it'll help you that way too. And so we'll track those numbers. You don't have to input those. once we get that data the next week, we will be auto tracking the value of your entry. So that's how to think about that, right? You can put your picks in, we can track it. Now, the other cool thing, and I'm going to show you, this is one of our other top tools that people like, is our season planner. You can enter it two ways. You can click here on the main My Entries page, or you can, once you're in the data grid, I'll show you where you click on that as well. Right now, I'm going to click here and enter it. Well, actually, I'm going to go through the data grid. So this would take me straight there. But if I'm in the data grid researching, you also see this paragraph here. It says view season planner for a rough plan to when to use. I can also click directly from the data grid in, and just like before, I can toggle back and forth on my season planner between all my entries and see who are my top recommendations that week by grade, who have I used. This season planner tool, you know, here's the thing about golfers. We don't know exactly who's going to show up to what tournament. We can do a pretty good job at guessing some of them, like the majors. If a golfer is qualified for the Masters, they're probably going unless they're hurt, right? That's not true of every event, though. Like, there are some events that golfers also have to qualify for, like the signature events, the Arnold Palmer, the Memorial, where they have to play their way in, but there's different rules, and we don't know who all is going to qualify. We know some of the names, but there are others that are going to play their way into those events as the year goes on, so we can't really project who's going to be available for every big event. What we can do, and what we do with our season planner, is kind of show you a range of golfers and how many events you have left in that tier of tournament. And we give you some extra names. And so we're kind of showing you the potential golfers that you might be considering for your highest tier here. The US Open, the Masters, the Players Championship. Starts off with names like Scheffler, Rahm, Fleetwood, McIlroy, DeChambeau. Gets into Griffin, Spahn, Henley, Robert McIntyre, Schauffele, Matt Fitzpatrick, Hovland, Oberg. And so you can see some of the names. And so what's going to happen as you go along in the season is when you actually use a golfer, they're going to show up down here instead. We actually show you at the very bottom, golfers you've used. And once you get into the season, we're going to have a running list here of the golfers you've already used. Tournaments that have gone into the past will no longer appear on this list. And this list will get a little shorter as there's fewer events to fill. And so what it's going to do is just show you over time, okay, based on who you used, here's the golfers that might be in consideration for these bigger events. Here's some names that could be in consideration for the lower purses, depending on how you play it. Guys like Oberg or Cam Young might be borderline. You might want to use them at a major, right? But if you haven't, you definitely want to probably use them by the end of the year if you're not using them for the signature events. You know, it shows you the reasonable range of guys you might consider down here at the bottom. Guys like Connors and Morikawa we're talking about this week, and Maverick McNeely, guys that are options this week. And so that's what this is showing. It's showing the various tiers. The Valspar has the exact same purse size, so it's showing you some golfers there. Now, are all these guys going to show up to the Valspar? We don't know. But I think planning it out of these are the range of golfers I need helps keep you organized. Because ultimately, we can say a guy tends to play a tournament, but unless it's a tournament that is a must like attend, that they qualify for, how their season's going may impact what they decide to do, right? Guys who are struggling may go play the Texas swing in May because they need to get more points. Whereas the next year they may not. They may be doing fine. They may take a week off. And so it's hard to project exactly who's going to show up to these smaller purse events. And so we're just trying to show you a range of golfers that would be in consideration to be picked. So that's what the season planner tool does for you. And that is another cool feature that I think as the season gets going, I think a lot of people have said they really find value in just being able to visualize the kind of golfers they need to save. So that's a pretty much the overview of our tools. The other thing I'll point out, we have an article section. We have weekly videos, we'll have weekly articles. we'll have strategy articles that appear here throughout the year. In our weekly article, I do lay out how I'm picking that week, my pick thoughts. Not that you have to fade or follow, but I will lay out not only who I'm picking, but kind of the rationale and how I'm dividing up a portfolio of picks, how I'm attacking that tournament, whether it be safe, future value, spread out my picks, concentrate a little more, things like that. So I will write that up, and so you can see how I'm thinking about the week. We also have our strategy guide. We did a big strategy guide. You can download that for free. You can check that out and download a PDF and read it as you desire. And it's available for you for free. You do not have to be a subscriber. You can check that out. So check that out as well. And then, like and subscribe. We're going to have plenty more Golf One and Done content. I hope you do find value in this product. I hope it helps you. Love to hear about people that win pools using it. Winning pools is tough. We are just trying to help you in that process. So good luck. Again, hit your one and done picks, hit that like and subscribe if you want to see more one and done content. And if you have questions, leave them below and I'll answer them. Thank you.